welcome to today's business conversations, how to stay top of mind of your customers. Good morning. If you are already live, do well to invite someone who needs to be a part of this. Whether you're on IG or you are on YouTube, invite someone who needs to learn from today's conversation. Good morning. I can see you. Thank you for joining. How to stay top of mind of your customers. Today is episode 4, I believe. Episode 4, yes, of your customers. It's necessary that we have these conversations because if we don't learn how to stay top of mind for our customers in these seasons, it will take your money and go somewhere else. I know that there's a lot of political instability and economic instability in most nations across the world, and then most business owners are sort of the ones who have been hit the most by the decisions of their customers. So it's necessary that as things are the way they are, both economically and politically, you must know how to position yourself as an entrepreneur so that your customers are consistently thinking about you when it's time to spend their money, right? As our culture, we'll start with opening prayer and then we'll go straight into how to position yourself or how to stay top of mind for your customers. Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for today. Thank you for the light and the knowledge that we're about to access. Thank you for the direction this light and knowledge is about to give us. Thank you because this will answer so many deep-seated questions that we have struggled with. And once we have the answers to these questions, give us the grace and the strength to be able to execute so that we can see rapid results in our lives. I also pray that for everyone who decides to execute what they have learned, let them see speedy results in Jesus' name. We ask, oh God, let the heavens, let the earth indeed partner together to favor these entrepreneurs in the Association of African Startups, so that indeed at the end of the business here, they will be able to say that God did show up for them in massive ways. This we ask in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. So today, we are going to be focusing on how to handle rejection as an entrepreneur. If you have ever had any episode of people didn't want to do business with you, people felt, well, they didn't want to use your service, or people felt like, no, I do not want to buy at this time, and all the different things we face when it is time for sales or closing sales, and then those rejections, how do you deal with it? It matters a lot because how you deal with rejection will determine whether you are willing to plunge again into the deep. Because a lot of times you're plunging again after the rejection is what matters or what determines whether you enter into the blessings that has been earmarked for you. Okay, and what rejection attempts to do in your mind as an entrepreneur is it dampens your zeal and your desire to want to do more. A lot of times people interpret rejection through the lens of personalization. They look at it as though they don't like me, they look at it as though I'm not valuable, they look at it as though, well, they don't need me, and all the different interpretations we give to rejection. But it's usually not like that. When a person says they don't want what you have or they don't want what you offer, it's not directed at you a lot of the times. A lot of the times it's directed at what they are dealing with, but they are not patient enough to want to explain that. Sometimes people will tell you, I don't want what you are selling, not necessarily because it's not good, but because I'm just not right in the right frame of mind to buy. Right? Or I don't even have the money for it, but I'm looking for a way to move away from this conversation. The rejection is not personal. It's not about you. It's not about your product and services. A lot of times it's about the person who wants to make the buying decision. Is that as a human being, they decide that I will make up my mind on what I want to do. Then you, the entrepreneur, should not pay for somebody else's choice. What most of us do with rejection is that we are paying for the choices others have made, and they have made peace with their choices. For example, if I decide that I don't want to use somebody else for my hair, I have made my decision. I'm at peace with it. The person who I chose not to use, if they start beating themselves up, they are beating themselves up over something that I have made a decision about, and I'm at peace with it. So they may keep having sleepless nights over that particular decision, but I have made it and I'm at peace. So every time you take rejection personally, what you are doing is you are romancing somebody else's decision that they have made peace with. I hope you never forget this. You are romancing somebody else's decision that they have made peace with. That means you are dealing with the after effect of something that somebody is not even aware of. So, rejection is not personal. How then do you handle it? The first thing is acknowledge your emotions. When you feel those emotions, don't sweep them under the carpet. If you sweep them under the carpet, they're going to keep taunting you. Acknowledge how you feel. When you acknowledge how you feel, the next thing is to actively seek. A lot of times, if you want to, this is not even very necessary, right? You can choose to seek feedback from the person who said they didn't want to do business with you. For example, maybe you went to pitch in a company and all kinds of business owners were dropping their proposals as touching the project that was about to be executed, and you felt like as an entrepreneur you did your best as touching the pitch, the presentation, the proposal, and then all of you had to present. Maybe at the point of presentation you recognized that your proposal was very valued, right? And then the people who were at the interview level or at the decision making table felt like they loved your proposal and they wanted to hear more, see more of you. You know, you can go to this stage as touching your work, and then you feel like, oh, the response is great, they love me, they seem like they want me back. Then at the end you just hear, sorry, we do not want you. That can make you feel like, wait, from everything I saw going on here, you people seem to like me, you seem to like my proposal, you seem to like my presentation. In fact, I was vibing with most of you if I was to use that contextual language, right? But what happened there? That can taunt you. The first thing is establish that, okay, I feel a certain way. The next is seek feedback. If you have a way to seek feedback from the organization to say, thank you so much for the opportunity to even pitch my product or my service, right? But I would like to know, what do you think went wrong with my proposal? Why do you think I was not the preferred option? Or you'd find a wise way to ask the question. You tell the person, I'm just trying to ask for feedback purposes, so that you can absolve yourself of that feeling that, oh, I did all I thought to do. I felt they loved me. It looked like they wanted my own proposal, but what happened? And 90% of the time, you would see that it was not about you. It was about the fact that within the decision-making table, they had already decided who they wanted to go with based on favoritism or connection. Do you see? And so if you don't deal with that at the point of call, what will happen is you'll be beating yourself over the fact that, oh, well, with everything I did, I was still not good enough. Maybe I should just go and drop this hat and not try it again. Never fall into that trap. Acknowledge the fact that you're feeling the way you're feeling, and where necessary, seek feedback. But there are other times where you don't need to seek feedback. For example, somebody made an inquiry in your DM and you guys had finished everything up until the end, right? You have sent them invoice and it feels as though, well, they did not quite come through with the sale. And maybe when you did ask them, they say, sorry, I'm not sure I want to buy again. I just made up my mind. I don't think I want to buy again. Or I spoke with my husband and my husband said no. Do you see what I mean? That can make you feel, okay, wait, so she felt it was good to buy from me, but her husband felt it was not good. Does it mean I'm not good enough? And all those questions. Listen, understand this. Rejection is not about you. A lot of times it's something going on inside. Inside them, the buyers. Sometimes they will tell you, other times they won't tell you. It's okay. What people think or not think about your worth is not what should determine, or it's not what should validate you as an entrepreneur. You have a long number of years ahead of you to build that business, that company, that organization God has put in your hands. If you wallow about what people think or don't think based on the number of rejections you have gotten, you're not ready to stand the test of time. Because listen, the easiest thing that comes to the mouth of every person is no. It's the easiest. They don't care about how you feel or don't feel. No, it's so easy. It comes out of people's mouth, right? And so you cannot beat yourself over these levels of rejection, right? The other thing is that you must accept that rejection can be normal. Like I just said earlier, it's normal. And because it's normal, it's part of the entrepreneurial journey. Everyone who ever innovated or invented something great went through cycles of rejection so many times. If they told you the number of rejections, right, you'll be marveled. And it is why, as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest assets you must develop is resilience. 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 Because every time something worthy or worthwhile is put in your hands, like an idea, one of the things that would happen is everything around you will test the validity of your conviction in your product. Everything, everything, everything is because it's the way it is the way this world is created. And that's why you read in the scriptures, you would hear that the word of God tested Joseph. God had spoken a word about Joseph, and the word of God tested him. Everything around you will test it. And that is why you have incubation periods for businesses. Within the first 5 years, you will hear that businesses are at a risk of shutting down within the first 5 years. Why do you think so? Because that first 5 years is the stage of testing. Everything will test. People will reject you. People will turn their backs on you. Family will say, why are you wasting your time? Friends will say, oh, look at this one. You are trying to run a business. And all kinds of things. You will deal with them, right? You must understand that it is normal and it's part of the entrepreneurial journey. What this is meant to do for you is it is meant to help you build the muscle required to stay. Staying power, resilience, very critical, right? The other thing that you must understand about dealing with rejections is that, because objection is not the same thing as rejection. Another thing you must understand about dealing with rejection is you have to reframe the perspective with which you see it. See it as an opportunity for sometimes improvement. Because before somebody critiques what it is you currently do, you too can look into your business with a lens of a critic and be honest about yourself, about the things that you do. Can your process be better? Can your product be packaged better? Don't be what's the word now? Don't become too comfortable, or don't become a stumbling block to the kind of improvements that you can experience in your business. Don't consider your current ingenuity as the best that can ever be for your business. Don't do that. Be open to seeing better ways to do things with your business. And when you do that, one of the things that would happen is that your perspective to rejection will change, because it will make you look into your business before somebody else ever tells you to say, okay, this can be done better, this can be changed, this can be tweaked. And so every time, rejection now serves as a springboard for you to do better with your business. Whether it's something at the entire iteration process, something at the entire packaging process, or the delivery process, or the service process, literally it should reframe your perspective on how you see it. The other thing is, it should help you truly make adjustments on your product and service. Make adjustments on your product and service. Make adjustment. And I like to put it this way. Some time ago, I bought something from a dear young lady, and the packaging was so beautiful. The way she packaged it was so beautiful. And when I tasted it, I felt like she added too much of a particular ingredient, and it was so obvious. It was so obvious, right? For people like us who are very particular about our taste bud, a particular ingredient was so obvious, even though it was packaged so beautifully and so professionally. And that sort of lady who had done that level of professional packaging, of course, she'll have gotten fantastic feedback about, oh my God, this is different, this is new, and all of that. And if your product is good, one of the ways you would know is that people will keep coming back for that particular product. If they don't keep coming back, there's something that you need to tweak. If they don't keep coming back, there's something that you need to tweak. I'll say it again. If they don't keep coming back, there's something that you need to tweak. And so one of the things that would make you truly think about tweaking it is to look at whether they are coming back again and again for that. If they are not coming back again and again, it means that they are rejecting yours and going for other options. That should make you go back to the table and then adjust to the product. Adjust the product. Some of you, in fact, when you notice that customers are not coming back again and again for that particular product or for a range of products, be the first to seek their feedback and be honest. Don't surround yourself with customers or people who are just willing to clap for you even when they know that you're doing badly. Be honest about feedback. Don't preempt the feedback, right? For example, you want to ask for feedback. You're saying to somebody, okay, so tell me, this juice was so good, right? You're preempting the feedback. You're not going to help yourself. I'm sure you liked the taste of the rice, right? No. Please, I would like to find out genuinely, how did you find my product? Did it meet your specifications? What would you like to see done better? As entrepreneurs, develop a thick skin for feedback and, where necessary, criticism. Develop a thick skin. And this is what I always say to people: never focus on the vessel, focus on the message. Because how they pass the feedback may be brutal, but can you take the message and leave the messenger? Because ultimately, a person who knows how to pick the message and leave the messenger is the one that will soar and keep soaring high. Because if you're easily offended by the way the person said it, you're not going to take the message. Because the next thing you will say is, oh, this person doesn't like me, they're jealous, that's why they're saying it this way. Meanwhile, there was probably a feedback in that thing for you to be able to build a better product. So I'd say, be very open and deliberate about seeking sincere feedback, and be willing to take this sincere feedback. Even though it may hurt, it may sting your ego, and be willing to work on it. Because it's only when you work on it that you're able to improve to a version that people can now. As an entrepreneur, never be content serving where the customers at the level where you're serving the customers. Until kings in that industry can place a demand for what you serve, there's still better you can do with that product and service. I'm not saying that you should leave your current niche market of serving to those who are at the lower part of the pyramid, right, and move to the upper part. No, I'm not saying you should leave that niche market, but I'm saying that if you are creating a product simply because the people at the lower end, they don't need too much, what you're doing is you're pampering mediocrity. Yes. And you're building your business around the pillars of mediocrity. Even if you're serving those at the lower echelon, make sure that you keep improving to the highest level of excellence. For example, you're a tailor or you're a fashion designer, and because you are charging maybe 4,000 naira for your clothes, all the thread of your clothes is sticking out, all the seams look funny and they're loosening again and again, and you say, well, the people who are paying 4,500, it's not 4,500 they paid, what do they expect? You're building your business around the pillars of mediocrity. Because somebody else will start that same business, and even with the same 4,500 they are charging, I'm just using that as a reference point, they will build such level of finishing around it that everybody who is coming to you at that level will move. Because literally all it takes to displace you is to find literally all it takes to displace you is to find your weak points and improve on your weak points. That's all it takes to displace you. If you look at the financial landscape or the fintech landscape in Nigeria, well, by extension Africa, what is going on is that before you know it, OPay started. What happened after them? PalmPay. Before you know it, Kuda. Before you know it, Money Point. You see what's going on amongst all of them? It's crazy competition. But the only way there's crazy competition is because there's a flaw in one, the other one will take it and improve upon it. And so it feels as though all of them are trying to catch each other by doing the exact same things. That's what happens in the industries, every industry. So you can't build your business around the pillars of mediocrity and not expect to be etched out. Entrepreneurs, hear me. Every level where you serve customers, aspire for the highest level of excellence there is in that particular niche market. That is how you can consistently scale that product, that service in that niche market. Until you do so, what happens is you may not stand the test of time. And remember that our job here is to equip you so that you can build sustainable businesses. And one of the ways to make sure you're doing so is to seek feedback actively and improve upon the feedback. For example, it's a new year. We're at the beginning of the year, and you want to stay top of mind of your customers. Do you know that all the things that they noticed as a flaw in your business is etched somewhere in their mind? I hope you know. Customers are not as forgiving as you are forgiving towards yourself. That's the truth. That's why you hear things like bad impression lasts longer. That's the truth. Every bad impression feedback service, a lot of times it lingers. It takes the mercy of God for it to be erased. And even if it's erased, the next time they want to do business with you, don't be skeptical. They're like, this person that gave me this that last time, please, oh, literally, that's what happens. So it's the beginning of a new year. Sit down and look at all the places where you felt like you got it wrong as an entrepreneur last year, and make a decision to start improving it now. Don't wait till another customer gives you the feedback. Say, last year I bought from you, this is what you did. You are still doing it again this year. What is it? Won't you change? Don't wait till that. Go to the drawing board and say, what are the things we got wrong in 2025 that our customers were not comfortable with? And beyond even your customers that you yourself you observed as a shortfall, can I go back to the drawing table and begin to fix it now? And so you're working with your team members to make sure that you are fixing it, right? One of the other ways to handle rejection is to speak to your mentors. Speak to your mentors. As a business owner, make sure that you have mentors surrounding you. Don't build in isolation. And if you are listening to me and you're building your business just like a hobby, well, if business comes, let me do it. If it doesn't come, don't do it. You are dishonoring God by building that business with levity. If God finds you worthy to steward an idea, if you build it with levity, you're dishonoring Him. What you're saying to me is, I don't value this thing. No. Don't do it. If He gave it to you, it's worth building. Give it all that it takes to actually build it, and watch Him back you up, right? So, seek support. Connect with mentors. Find a mentor who helps you through your business. Once there's a business challenge, maybe like a rejection, and if rejection is back to back to back to back, seek somebody who's your mentor and speak to them and say, you have observed this particular trend or this pattern. What can you do? What can you do about it? Because a lot of times it's not everybody that is against you. A lot of times there's something inside you that needs to be fixed. And then somebody asked a question. I think I'll just take that question. The person said, what's the difference between outright criticism and feedback? Two things. If somebody is outrightly criticizing you, a lot of times, if I were you, before I think about criticism, I'll think about the message. I'm telling you. And this is how I live. It will bless you if you change your approach to life. This is how I live. I have come under the greatest criticisms in my life. Believe me, you have no idea. All kinds. But let me tell you how I approach criticisms. The moment they say criticism, because you will know, the difference between criticism is that a lot of times the person will be trying to attack your personality. Criticism, as opposed to the problem. So criticism is they're trying to attack your personality beyond the problem. You will feel attacked if it's criticism. And a lot of times in these climbs, people don't know how to give feedback without criticizing. That's why you can't take it personal. Rejection is not personal. They don't know how to give feedback without criticizing. That's the truth. So they want to complain about maybe your product. They'll say, what kind of product do you sell, Seth? What kind of nonsense product is this? They are angry about the product, but they want to make sure they hit at you so that you feel the pain they feel. The people in these climbs don't know how to give feedback that is constructive. They will criticize and attempt to malign your person because they are hurt and they want you to feel the hurt. So as a person who is an entrepreneur, you can't take it personally. They are angry and they want you to feel their anger. What then do you do? Separate the person and take the message. This is what I do. I'm not joking. I won't teach you what I don't do. The moment I see criticism coming, first thing I know is they want to give feedback, but they don't know how to give feedback constructively. Most Nigerians, actually. Most Nigerians don't know how to. No matter how mature they are, I'm telling you. No matter how mature they are. Because people are emotional beings. They tend to act on their emotions beyond anything else. If it's paining me, you must feel the pain. Is that not how we are? How they are, not me. If it's paining me, I have to feel the pain. If I enter into a place and they're acting funny, I want to complain about their service, but the next thing I want to talk about is the gear. Why are you standing that way? Is that how to talk to your customers? Meanwhile, it's the service I'm not happy about. Most people don't know how to give constructive feedbacks. So every criticism you see is that they are unhappy about something, but they don't know how to relate it to you. They have to make you feel it. So if I were you, remove the entity that is criticizing and take the message. because truly what they wanted to pass across was the message. If you take this approach to feedbacks, what would happen is that as an entrepreneur, you will grow quickly. You will grow quickly in terms of your product and your services, but also in your person, in your character. Because you will now recognize that people are not able to get to you. Instead, you're able to learn from everybody, no matter how vile. This is my approach to life, and it has blessed me so much. So I can learn from the most absurd person simply because I know how to look for the message in their message. Yes. And I hope that as an entrepreneur, you will be able to handle this. And that is why I taught you earlier that the way so, if you know that you're hurt, acknowledge that you're hurt about the way they criticized you. And then go and deal with that in your personal space. But make sure you take the feedback, because by all means, it will help you. Right? Finally, one of the ways to handle rejection is make sure you are planted in communities like the Association of African Startups. When you feel like there's something you're dealing with, you can put it in the community. There will be people who can share with you how they dealt with similar things and how you too can deal with it, or somebody who can offer advice. Do you see? You can't be surrounded by a plethora of experts in the Association of African Startups, and you're dealing with something and you don't want to share. Share it in the community. Somebody will be able to give you feedback as to how they handled it and how they think you too can handle it. The power of communities, right? I think that's what we're going to stop here for today. I hope that you're prepared for 2025, and I hope that this has been a blessing for you. Remember, don't wait till you make the same mistake you made in 2025 as touching feedbacks. Start implementing the change you want to see now, right? God bless you all, and thank you for joining our broadcast today. See you next week by the grace of God. Until then, make sure that you are binging on the program that you need to take, which is the mindset for building businesses in Africa. There's a mindset you need to build a business in Africa. Make sure to binge on it and learn. Not just binge, be deliberate about taking notes that you implement so that you too can begin to run. All right? God bless you. See you next week by the grace of God. Until then, I love you. Stay blessed. Okay.